Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Finance with Ava. In this video, I'm going to take you on my journey of buying shares of Reddit during their IPO initial public offering through SoFi. So here I am right here on the SoFi app. I use SoFi for my individual investment portfolio in their checking and savings account as well. So we're going to be doing this through SoFi. And right here up front, we have the IPO disclosure. Just to let you know, of course, investing in IPOs contains substantial risk and so on and so on. They want to let you know that up front because, investing in a stock of a company that's going public for the first time, it's going to be likely more riskier than investing in a company that's been, on the stock market for a while. So overall, and right here you have more information on the SoFi within the app and their website about IPOs in general. If you want to learn more about the IPO process and everything, a lot of information on their website and who's eligible and different things like that. I won't dive into all that, but I do want to tell you, of course, about the IPO flipping policy. If you're wondering, hey, can I sell these shares of this IPO after I've obtained them? And yes, you can. They state members are able to sell securities obtained during an IPO whenever they would like. SoFi does not restrict the sale of securities on the secondary market. However, if a member sells within the first 30 calendar days post IPO, that member will be limited in their ability to participate in future IPOs through SoFi for a defined period of time as outlined below. So they state that members that have obtained shares of an IPO through SoFi sell within the first 30 days are considered flippers and may be prevented from participating in future IPOs for 180 days upon first violation, 365 days upon a second violation, and permanently in the event of a third violation. And they also stated SoFi may charge a fee for the sales of securities obtained through the IPO process if the sale takes place prior to the 120th day of trading. So you do have that to consider right there. If you're going to sell these shares quickly, you could be considered a flipper, and there's going to be a $50 fee for that first sale right there, and then after that a $5 fee each time you sell. So keep that in mind with this. I'm going to show you that throughout this process. They're going to mention that again. So yeah, more information on the IPO process is on SoFi app and their website and everything, the risk involved in it, the IPO disclaimer and disclosures and all of that. And also, before you're able to submit your indication of interest with the number of shares you would like to have, you're going to have to answer a few questions like what's your net income, your experience with stocks and investing, and also questions like the ones you see on the screen right there. Do you have any beneficial interest in Reddit or the specific company that the IPO is for, and so on and so on. All right, so we're back here on the IPO section right here, and we went through the disclosure, disclaimer, read through all that. We're going to start the process here. So they're going to give you information about who is Reddit, what is Reddit. Global digital city where anyone in the world can join a community to learn from one another, engage in authentic conversations, explore passions, and so on and so on. There's a good chance you've heard about Reddit, or you may even use Reddit, so you likely know what Reddit is, and they have information on that. The indication of interest right there stating about participating in the IPO, submitting this indication of interest. That's what I'm doing right now up front. The first step is to submit this indication of interest, the IOI. And right here they're stating that the expected price range is going to be between $31 and $34. You're not going to know that until a little bit later in the process when it gets priced for the market. And they have estimated key dates right here where you have to deposit your funds by, the pricing and order date. That's when we'll know how much the share is going to cost, and then the IPO date. So that's going to be the day after we find out how much it's going to be priced at per share. And so more information right here on the key dates. They're stating IPO timing is independent on a few different factors and everything. So to go more information on that, if you want to know more about, hey, what's going on with these key dates. So I'm going to continue right here and participate in the IPO. And right here, I'm going to state how many shares I would like to obtain. Now, this is not a guarantee of how many shares you're going to get. This is your indication of interest of how many shares you would like to have. And so they're going to show right here the estimated maximum price, just give you an idea of how much it's going to be depending on how many shares you want. So if you want 10 shares, then $340 will need to be in your account, and so on and so on. So each time you update this amount, you can see how much that estimated maximum cost is going to be. Just to let you know, that's how much you're going to need in your account, in your investment portfolio account, in that section, not just your checking or savings account. You're going to need that money in your investment account to be able to obtain the shares that you would like if you get that amount. Now, chances are you're not going to get the amount you would like. So you see right there, if it's 1,000 shares, $34,000. So each time you update it, it's going to change. I'm just going to offer 5 shares here. I'm not like really trying to obtain a lot of shares of Reddit or, be a big part of my long-term portfolio or anything like that. It's not going to be a top 5 holder, a top 10 holder, or anything like that for me. I just want to participate in this IPO process and show you all about it. And, keep an eye on Reddit. This is interesting stock and interesting that they're going public. So I'm going to just put in a request for 5 shares. And they have some more information right here about selling shares and everything like I told you about earlier. So here it is on the screen again if you want to read through that. And there it is about that fee. So selling any shares you obtain through an IPO within 120 days it may result in a $50 fee on the first sale and a $5 fee for every additional sale. It may also impact your ability to participate in future IPO offerings. So like I was stating earlier in the video, when they can put you in kind of like a disciplinary action type thing, and there's the fee as well. So of course, yeah, you can sell and make more than that fee depending on how much the stock moves and everything like that. But also you got to keep in mind you're going to be considered a flipper, and then SoFi may limit your ability to participate in IPOs through them. So it's just something to keep in mind, more fine print right there. So before I can submit my indication of interest for those 5 shares, got to click on the prospectus, and they want you to read all through this and everything. You don't really have to, they're not going to time you or say, hey, you didn't scroll all the way to the bottom, you didn't read it or anything like that, but you do have to click on it and review it. So I've clicked on that, reviewed that, because you remember I read all that earlier, right? Remember? Just kidding. So yeah, a lot of information right there on Reddit through the prospectus, and this is just a standard process. Got the prospectus read, I've confirmed that, and then boom, it states that your indication of interest has been submitted. What's next? We will let you know once pricing is finalized. You will be able to edit and confirm your buy order at that time, and that they state that you must make sure that you have enough buying power in your account to confirm your order. So you can learn more about this. I submitted my indication of interest. What now? So they're just telling you, be patient, hang tight. Depending on when you did this, you may have to wait a little longer. If you did it closer to the pricing date, then you're going to be closer to getting in on the action of the IPO, of course. So I did this a few days before the pricing date, and so I'm just submitting my interest to 5 shares. Estimated maximum price $34. So I need to have $170 in my investment portfolio account in cash, able to buy stocks. And I'm not going to touch that money. I don't keep money just sitting in my investment account. So I actually need to move money over to my account, because right now you see that I have submitted my indication of interest, and I cannot confirm my buy order, so I don't have the funds in my account for the IPO. I have 0 in my investment portfolio right now. I like to keep money in my high yield savings account and so on and so on. So I want to earn interest. When I'm ready to buy stocks, I move money over. So right here, I'm going to need to move money over to participate in this IPO and possibly get those 5 shares. So it says I have $170 in indicated interest and 0 in buying power. So I'm going to move over $170 to my brokerage account with SoFi and just let that money sit there and, see how many shares I can get. If I don't get to obtain all the shares I want, then I'm going to use that money for some other stocks. And now, on the day before the IPO went live of March 20th, 2024, I received the email stating that I need to confirm my order. Got this email at 6:24 p.m. It states that Reddit, ticker symbol RDDT, is priced at $34 per share. So the pricing has been announced. And it states that I need to confirm my order as soon as possible, but no later than 11 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to do that within the app and show you that process as well. Now that I have the $170 in my account, I can confirm my buy order. So here I can change the amount of shares I've requested again. I can put in, 10 shares. Well, then I'm going to need to add more buying power, $340. If I wanted to have 20 shares, I'm going to need to have $680 in their account. 1,000 shares, $34,000. And so on and so on. So I'm going to go back to that 5 shares requested amount for the $170. So I have that in my account. And right here, you have to review the prospectus. That prospectus. I can't click on confirm or anything because I have to click on review to look over the prospectus. Then I can click on confirm. So here's more information right here about, IPO process and, selling the IPO within 120 days. They really want to let you know that, because a lot of people are going to try to do that. They're going to try to get in and get out, take advantage of all the volatility and the price action of a new stock going public. Because if you look at the charts of previous stocks that have gone public, ARM Holdings, Instacart, Rivian, there's a lot of movement in the stock price during that first month or so. And sometimes it continues, and sometimes it just kind of evens out. It just moves along with the market and so on and so on. So yeah, I'm going to review the prospectus right here. Look over that again. This time it got kind of zoomed in or something right there. But you remember, we've read over this perspective. This is like the third time in the video we've looked at this perspective. So a lot of great reading right there. I'm not gonna bore you to that with this on that video. So yeah, we've reviewed it. It's good. And now I can click on the confirm button. And it states right here, once again, a warning: selling the IPO units acquired during this IPO process may incur fees. If you sell within 120 days of the IPO, it will result in a $50 fee for the first sale and a $5 fee for any additional sale. So click OK, just go on with that. And it states that my buy order for ticker symbol RDDT has been confirmed. Read it. Now what's next? Once again, hang tight, be patient. This is just a whole process. It's just pretty much getting in line, basically. Getting in line and waiting. Now I'm in line. I've got my indication of interest in, how many shares I want. I got the amount in my account. So now I'm just kind of waiting until the IPO goes live. Now it states that the transaction is not complete. They state that we'll let you know when it's complete. All right, now let's get into the actual IPO date. And the IPO is live, and I requested 5 shares, and I got 1 share. So yeah, I got 1 share of Reddit. The kinks and everything are still being worked out in the market with the IPO. So some things aren't showing up yet. As you see, it's showing 0 as the stock price, but we know it's going to be $34 because it has the cost of my share at $34. So I'm down 100% right now just because, things are getting worked out in the market with the IPO going live and everything. But I have a share of Reddit, ticker symbol RDDT, in my portfolio. As you see, still getting worked out. There's no, low or high of the day or anything like that. So eventually these things are going to be updated. There's going to be a chart and everything like that. So yeah, as SoFi stated, you can request a certain amount of shares, but you're not guaranteed to receive that certain amount of shares. So with that being said, I requested 5 shares and I got 1 share. So yeah, as I stated, I'm not, and like I stated also, I'm not trying to have Reddit a big part of my portfolio, and I don't want to go all in on it at once. Even if I was really interested in having Reddit be a nice size of my portfolio or just being one of my top, 10 or 20 holdings or something, I would need to do more research on it. And to tell you the truth, honestly, I haven't done that much research on Reddit. I know they're growing a lot, and I also know they're not profitable. So they spend a lot of money, but they're not making as much money as they're spending. However, their balance sheet is going to be nice after this IPO. They're going to have a lot of cash on hand and no debt, little to no debt on their balance sheet. So that's a nice balance sheet to have. Of course, that's like pristine, having a lot of cash, assets, but not having a lot of liabilities or debt. So that's what they're going to have. So they're going to be able to afford to pay all those costs that they have to pay, for a little while before they'll have to, need to show us being profit. But of course, there's companies out there that have been going on for years, that aren't profitable, and eventually they become profitable. Some do, some don't. So yeah, with Reddit, like I stated, I would need to know more about the company financially and feel more confident about it to buy more. But I just wanted to, participate in the IPO. So hey, 5 shares, but I got 1 share. I'm fine with that. It's at the bottom of my investment portfolio. So everything else, I have much more of it than Reddit. But I'm gonna let Reddit hang out right there at the bottom of my portfolio and just check in on it here and there, and watch the chart. It's gonna be interesting to see how this stock moves. And with me requesting 5 shares and only getting one, I know some of you or many of you may be wondering, how did that happen? Why did you only get 1 share when you requested 5? Well, like I stated towards the beginning of the video, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get the shares that you request. SoFi has to go through an allocation process with their algorithm and everything, and how many shares they obtain of the IPO, because they're not the only financial institution, of course, that are getting shares of Reddit to have for their investors on their platform. So let me go to the frequently asked questions. So I got the frequently asked questions pulled up here, and I'm going to show you the answer to this question from SoFi. So right here with this question, it states, how does SoFi allocate IPO shares? So it states, SoFi takes several factors into consideration when allocating shares to members, including but not limited to direct deposits into your SoFi Money account, assets on the SoFi Invest platform, prior participation in IPOs, and any violations of SoFi's IPO flipping policy. SoFi reserves the right to make changes to its allocation procedure at any time without advance notice. So I requested a small amount, 5, and I only got 1. I'm not upset with that or anything. If I wanted more shares of Reddit, I would have requested more shares. Like if I thought, like, I want to get at least 10 shares, I probably would have requested like 50 or more, something like that, just to try to get that amount. So one thing's for sure, if you request a small amount, you're going to get a small amount. I would say definitely you may want to request more than you want, basically. But also keep in mind, hey, you may get close to that request amount, so that money in your account may go away towards those shares. But also, for me personally, like I stated, I don't want a large position in Reddit. I'm just doing this just kind of a process. I wanted to make a video on it, one thing, and also I wanted to, kind of watch Reddit to see what the stock does, and it's easier for me to do that if it's actually in my portfolio instead of a watch list. I do watch a lot of stocks on my watch list, but I want to, own a piece of this IPO, a little piece of history, with these IPOs. However, like previously, I was in the Rivian IPO with SoFi, which that stock did not do well. I showed that chart earlier in the video, and I requested a certain amount, didn't get that amount, got a lower amount. So it's just something to keep in mind. I've done this process before, so I was expecting not to get my full 5 shares. And also, right here when it states direct deposits into your SoFi Money account. So I do direct deposits in my SoFi checking account. I don't do the whole check amount from that company. I have direct deposits linked to my SoFi account, just a percentage of it. I have percentages going to another bank and SoFi. So SoFi does get direct deposits for me, but not a lot. So they may think, oh, this guy kind of uses us or anything, even though I do use their savings account. I'm more serious about their savings account than their checking account. I use their checking account, move money around, everything, but I like that 4.6 APY and being able to access my money easily through my checking and my invest platform and all that and so on. So that's one thing they may have considered with me. He does direct deposits, but not a large amount, but okay. And then also assets on the SoFi Invest platform. Now, I do have a nice amount of assets on the SoFi Invest platform. I'm not rich or anything, so it's not like, hundreds of thousands of shares and things like that. There's hundreds of shares of this and tens of shares of that and so on and so on. So it's a nice amount of certain stocks. Towards the bottom of my portfolio, not much. Like Reddit's at the very bottom. It's only one share. So, it's not it's a portfolio that's spread out with a very top heavy, like 10 or say about 10 of the top 10 stocks definitely are heavier in sports or concentration, and then it kind of dwindles down. I'm kind of trying to get certain stocks in the top 10, so I'm kind of moving things around a little bit in my portfolio. So they see that, and maybe that has something to do with my allocation. And then also it states prior participation in IPOs. So I participated in that Rivian IPO. Like I stated, I sold that share not that long after. I think I sold it at a loss. Rivian, I think, where's the IPO at? I don't want to just make up a number, but it IPO'd at a higher amount than where it's selling for now. The stock is currently around, what, $10, $11 a share. And you saw the chart. I'll show it again right here. So yeah, you see how it declined steeply. So yeah, I was involved in that IPO, not a lot of shares. It wasn't a big loss or anything. And long term, like, hey, Rivian may be a good stock long term. Those trucks and they look nice. The RT, RT1, R1T, something like that. They're some nice looking vehicles, and the technology behind them. The CEO, saw an interview with them. Anyways, I'm not gonna go into all that. I think they have a bright future if they keep moving forward. Tesla needs some competition. Tesla's a great company, but competition towards Tesla is going to make them even better. So also, and I did not get involved in the ARM or the Instacart IPO, which were two recent IPOs that SoFi had on their platform. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. So that's the answer from SoFi of how do they allocate IPO shares. Go to this question, you may be wondering who's eligible to participate in an IPO at SoFi. So, answer to this one from SoFi. SoFi active investing members can invest in IPOs with no account minimum. So you don't have to have a certain amount of your account. You need to have that amount, of course, maximum for the IPO for the shares you want, like I showed you in the video, when it comes to that point, but not initially. Also, they state money in your SoFi Money cash management account is separate from money in your SoFi Invest account. So money in your savings or checkings with SoFi is separate from your SoFi Invest account. If you have a SoFi Money account, you could instantly transfer up to $50,000 to your SoFi Active Invest account. When they say SoFi Money, that's what it used to be called. It's SoFi Checking and Savings. Now they just haven't updated the wording, I guess, right there. Or maybe they're just going to keep using that term. Maybe, I'm not sure. So, and also it states that SoFi Invest provides $5,000 of instant funding for external accounts and $50,000 for SoFi Money accounts. If you would like to purchase greater than $5,000 or $50,000 from the respective linked accounts, funds must settle before the order date. So they're just letting you know you can transfer money from other accounts to your SoFi Invest brokerage platform for the IPO. I just transferred from my SoFi checking account and it went over there instantly. You could transfer from external accounts, outside of SoFi, your account with Ally or Bank of America or Citi or so on and so on. You can transfer from an outside bank to SoFi brokerage account for the IPO shares that you want and everything. So that's totally fine. So I just want to show you some of those kind of answers to common questions I think some people may have, after watching this video and maybe thinking to themselves, oh, maybe I want to participate in the next IPO, or how can I do that, or am I eligible, things like that. So that is it, you all, with my journey of the Reddit IPO with SoFi. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Take care.